Welcome to Alaska Weather. This is Holloway for October 8th, 2020. A couple options for you: menu system on the phone and weather.gov/Alaska on the web. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at the bottom of the page there. For the hazardous weather, we do have one advisory to talk about, and that's a coastal flood advisory that remains in effect from 1 p.m. this afternoon until 1 a.m. Saturday. They did bring down or cancel or allowed to expire actually the high wind warning that was out there for portions of the Alaska Peninsula, so that's good news, and that supposedly is going to be ending here at 4 p.m. So watch for updates there, and please use those methods to further refine your weather search. We are in Winter Awareness Week. We did have some snow across the state here last weekend, and it continues to precipitate here in many portions of the state. So winter travel, road safety tips, and travel plans for your trips. Look like we're going to be should be sharing your travel plans with friends or family. Pack an emergency supply kit, winterize your vehicles, and we all know in Alaska that snow tires is pretty critical here. And again, check for road conditions. Alaska 511 is a good opportunity for that. And lastly, get the weather forecast and the latest updates using those methods we talked about earlier. For the satellite image, let's let this thing go in motion. You can see that lots of stuff happening with the low pressure system out there in the southwest. It kind of splits apart and forms into another low pressure system in the Gulf. I did see some precipitation amounts overnight, especially in the Panhandle. They had above an inch in the southern end of the Panhandle, a quarter to a half inch in the northern and central. Also in the uplands area in Fairbanks region, they had anywhere from a quarter to about a 3/4 of an inch of actual rain there. So they did have still some snow on the ground up there, but otherwise scattered snow showers for today's forecast through much of the region. Snow showers across portions of the interior, and some lingering rain and mixed precipitation across the southwest as we described those two low pressure systems, one becoming dominant here. But the occluder front, moderate to heavy rain pushing through the Panhandle today, snow showers further inland along the coastal mountains, Wrangell, St. Elias, and the southeast interior, but otherwise fog and snow along the Arctic coast there. So for tonight's weather, that low in the southwest becomes the dominant player, 983 millibar there, with a trough out ahead of that associated with that system, with lingering snow showers along that trough, and snow showers continue the higher country across south central and into the coastal mountains. That weakening occluded front through the Panhandle bringing some continued rain and snow showers down there. Otherwise lingering mixed precipitation across much of the southwest and into the northern Bering, fog and snow across the Arctic coast there. And there's the next system showing up there out in the western Aleutians. That'll become the dominant player here over the weekend. But that low, now 994 millibar low in the central Aleutians, central Bering Sea, with rain, moderate times associated with that system. Mixed bag of lows across much of the mainland, 996, low pressure system there. Again, continued lingering snow and rain showers across much of the Panhandle into south central and across much of the southern mainland actually. And again, continued fog and snow along the Arctic coast there, and mixed precipitation down through the southwest in areas of the southwest. For Sunday's weather, that low, again, approaching the southwest again. Kind of the scenario going on with the storm track right now, 982 millibar low there with an occluder front, mixed precipitation through the northern Bering down through the southwest, and again continuing low pressure system lingering over the southeast interior now. High pressure poking into the north slope there with fog and snow showers up there. For low temperatures Saturday morning, we're going to be looking at 44 in Ketchikan, 44 in Sitka as well, Juneau 40, Haines 41, Yakutat 40, Valdez 35, Talkeetna 32, 37 in Anchorage, Homer 39, 43 in Kodiak, 42 in King Salmon, and 30 up there in Bethel. For Saturday afternoon, high temperatures across the region: 50 in Ketchikan, 48 in Sitka, 47 in Juneau, 49 in Haines, 47 in Yakutat, Valdez 44, and Anchorage 47, 48 in Soldotna, 49 in Homer, 50 in Kodiak, 46 in King Salmon, 41 in McGrath, and 42 in Talkeetna. For Sunday morning low temperatures: 40 in Ketchikan, 42 in Sitka, 39 in Juneau, 40 in in Haines, 36 in Yakutat, 33 in Valdez, 36 in Anchorage, 32 in Soldotna, Kenai area, 37 in Homer, 41 in Kodiak, 29 in King Salmon, 31 in McGrath, 29 in Talkeetna. For high temperatures Sunday afternoon, looking at 48 in Ketchikan, 48 in Sitka, 47 in Juneau, 50 in Haines, 48 in Yakutat, 46 in Valdez, 46 in Anchorage, 47 in Kenai, Homer 47, 51 in Kodiak, 46 in King Salmon, 39 in Lime Village, 40 in McGrath, 42 in Talkeetna. Up to the north slope and interior. For Saturday morning, low temperatures looking at 27 in Fort Yukon, Ukqiavik 24, Point Hope 29, AKwx Pass 12, Arctic Village 17, up there in Kaktovik 22, 32 in Nome, 31 in Galena, 29 in Tanana, 28 in Fairbanks, and 24 in Northway. For high temperatures Saturday afternoon, 28 in Kaktovik, 29 in Ukqiavik, 33 in Point Hope, 39 in Nome, AKwx Pass 20, 27 in Arctic Village, 37 in Fort Yukon, 41 in Eagle, 37 in Northway, 40 in Fairbanks, Tanana 40, 40 in Galena as well. For low temperatures Sunday morning, looking at 23 in Kaktovik, 24 in Ukqiavik, 26 in Point Hope, 28 in Nome, 28 in Galena, 27 in Tanana, 30 in Fairbanks, 24 in Fort Yukon, 26 in Eagle, Northway 25, and for McKinley Park, looking at 23. For high temperatures Sunday afternoon, 27 in Kaktovik, 28 in Ukqiavik, Point Hope 31, 35 in Nome, Kotzebue 31, AKwx Pass 22, Arctic Village 24, 33 in Bettles, 34 in Fort Yukon, 38 in Eagle, 36 in Northway, 38 in Fairbanks, 38 in Tanana, 38 in Galena. For low temperatures Saturday morning, down through the southwest and Alaska Peninsula, Aleutians, 36 in Aniak, 34 in Bethel, 41 in Dillingham, Cold Bay 40, Dutch Harbor 42, 43 in Shemya, and St. Paul 39. High temperatures Saturday afternoon, 42 in Aniak, 43 in Bethel, 45 in Dillingham, 48 in Cold Bay, 49 in Dutch Harbor, Shemya 49, and St. Paul 46. For low temperatures Sunday morning, looking at 33 in Aniak, 31 in Bethel, 32 in Dillingham, 43 in Cold Bay, 46 in Dutch Harbor, 42 in Shemya, and 41 in St. Paul. For high temperatures finally Sunday afternoon, 42 in Aniak, 42 in Bethel, Dillingham 45, Iliamna 44, king salmon 46, 49 in Chignik, 50 in Cold Bay, Dutch Harbor 51, 48 in Shimya, 49 in St. Paul, and Adak, and 49 and 47 in Atka, and lastly 39 in Umanik.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the aviation forecast, starting with the flying weather on Saturday morning. We're dealing with areas of low pressure system over the southern mainland, producing some IFR conditions over the next couple days, but otherwise some IFR conditions across portions of the southern mainland and the south central, and with fog and some snow showers along the north slope, IFR conditions up there, and with the next system coming in, Aleutians, IFR conditions out there. And for Saturday afternoon, looking at IFR conditions again across portions of the southern mainland with that lingering areas of low pressure, and IFR conditions along the north slope with fog and freezing fog up there, and with the next system coming into the central Aleutians, IFR conditions there. And for Sunday morning, again, IFR conditions across portions of the southern mainland, IFR conditions along the Arctic coast, again with some fog possible up there, and marginal to IFR conditions across the Panhandle, and with that next system now in the eastern Bering, IFR conditions there. And we see that system finally show up in the southwest portion of the state and through Bristol Bay area with IFR conditions there, generally marginal conditions across much of the mainland, and some improving conditions down there in the Panhandle with marginal and IFR conditions there. For past conditions, AKwx, marginal, decreasing to IFR with especially IFR conditions on the northern entrance. Same kind of scenario there at Adigan. Lake Clark and Merrill, I tried to improve the conditions there, but it just wasn't going to work out. IFR conditions for those two passes, and that extends up into Rainy for the Alaska Range. As you get into Windy, some improving conditions there, marginal conditions. Isabel, marginal, but watch for IFR conditions on the southern entrance. Mentasta, marginal. And Tanita, IFR, as you get down there in closer to south central areas of low pressure. And Portage, I think you could see some improving conditions during the day on Saturday, marginal to, IFR to marginal conditions possible. Chilkoot and White, marginal conditions down there in the Panhandle, northern Panhandle. For freezing level, Saturday morning, surface freezing level cuts across the northern Bering down to the southwest and over into the Panhandle. Elevated freezing levels up to 2,000 feet across the southern mainland, and get into higher freezing levels as you get into the southern end of the Panhandle and higher elevations further south. For icing conditions, I went between 3,000 and 6,000 feet across portions of the northern portions of the mainland with considerable moderate in portions of the Brooks Range, and between 5,000 and 10,000 feet across the Aleutians, and that extends up into the southwest area with considerable moderate there. It's still a possibility, and between 7,000 and 10,000 feet there in the Panhandle and into the northern Gulf. For jet stream, areas of low pressure, we'll see this vertically stacked low over southeast interior, but otherwise counterclockwise flow around that, bringing some westerly flow into the Panhandle, 40 to 50 knots there. The jet streak over the southern central portions of the Aleutians with 145 knots there, and generally light and variable across much of the mainland with northerly flow across the northwest coast there. For the 9,000 foot winds Saturday, for that low vertically stacked over the southeast interior, counterclockwise flow bringing westerly flow into the Panhandle, 25 to 30 knots there, more northerly flow as you get into the southwest and down through the Alaska Peninsula with 45 to maybe even 60 across those areas, and there's that next low pressure system moving into the Aleutians with 60 knots in some of the central Aleutians. For 3,000 foot winds on Saturday, there's that vertically stacked low bringing counterclockwise flow across that, northerly flow across much of the southwest and in Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, with 35 to 50, maybe even 60 there. And again, westerly flow into the Panhandle with 30 to 35 knots there, and that low pressure system out there in the central Aleutians, 45 to 60 in some of those areas. For the turbulence on Saturday, looking for areas of anywhere between isolated to isolated severe across portions of the Alaska Peninsula and into the southwest and Aleutians.
Why is plastic marine debris so common? We know there's trash in the ocean. Unfortunately, a lot of it is plastic. We find plastic everywhere, from the ocean floor to surface. The plastics are all shapes and sizes and all different types. We find plastics on beaches, and also inside animals' stomachs or wrapped around their bodies. That's bad news for our ocean and the animals that live in it and near it. It's also bad news for us. A recent study from the University of Georgia estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic trash enters the ocean every year. That's like putting 5 bags filled with plastic on every foot of coastline in the world. That's a lot of plastic in the ocean, and it's there because, well, we put it there. The 5 most common items found during the International Coastal Cleanup are plastic cigarette butts, food wrappers, plastic beverage bottles, plastic bottle caps, and plastic straws and drink stirrers. Notice anything in common with those? It's a lot of single-use, disposable plastic. It goes without saying, we produce too much waste. That waste ends up in the ocean when we litter or don't recycle. Plastic is an important part of our modern lives. We use it for a lot of good things. But we need to take responsibility for how much we use every day and where it goes when we're done with it. The 3 R's can help, and it's up to every single one of us to practice them. Reduce your use of disposable plastic. That's anything you use once and throw away. Just use less. Reuse disposable plastics when possible. A plastic bottle makes a great coin piggy bank or watering can. The possibilities are endless. Recycle anything that can be recycled so it stays out of landfills, where trash can blow away. Ocean plastic is a huge problem that's only going to get worse. Unless we change our ways, we can do better for the ocean and for us. Why is plastic marine debris so common? We know there's trash in the ocean. Unfortunately, a lot of it is plastic. We find plastic everywhere, from the ocean floor to surface. The plastics are all shapes and sizes and all different types. We find plastics on beaches, and also inside animals' stomachs or wrapped around their bodies. That's bad news for our ocean and the animals that live in it and near it. It's also bad news for us. A recent study from the University of Georgia estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic trash enters the ocean every year. That's like putting 5 bags filled with plastic on every foot of coastline in the world. That's a lot of plastic in the ocean, and it's there because, well, we put it there. The 5 most common items found during the International Coastal Cleanup are plastic cigarette butts, food wrappers, plastic beverage bottles, plastic bottle caps, and plastic straws and drink stirrers. Notice anything in common with those? It's a lot of single-use, disposable plastic. It goes without saying, we produce too much waste. That waste ends up in the ocean when we litter or don't recycle. Plastic is an important part of our modern lives. We use it for a lot of good things. But we need to take responsibility for how much we use every day and where it goes when we're done with it. The 3 R's can help, and it's up to every single one of us to practice them. Reduce your use of disposable plastic. That's anything you use once and throw away. Just use less. Reuse disposable plastics when possible. A plastic bottle makes a great coin piggy bank or watering can. The possibilities are endless. Recycle anything that can be recycled so it stays out of landfills, where trash can blow away. Ocean plastic is a huge problem that's only going to get worse. Unless we change our ways, we can do better for the ocean and for us.
What is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Well, first, let's talk about what it's not. It's not a floating island of trash like a garbage dump or a landfill. It's also not the only patch. They exist all throughout the ocean, and the Pacific Garbage Patch just happens to be the most famous. Garbage patches are large areas of marine debris concentration that are formed by rotating ocean currents called gyres, kind of like big whirlpools that suck things in. A garbage patch is made up of tiny plastic pieces called microplastics that are less than 5 millimeters long. It's more like pepper flakes swirling in a soup than something you can skim off the surface. You might come across some larger items like plastic bottles, but it's possible to sail through a garbage patch and not see anything. And they're a big problem for the ocean and us. People often ask why we can't just scoop up all the marine debris in the ocean. And the answer is, unfortunately, it's just not that simple. The first challenge is the sheer size of these garbage patches. They're huge. They're constantly moving with ocean currents. And there's debris from the ocean surface all the way down to the sea floor. Not to mention all the marine life we would disrupt if we tried to just scoop up debris. So what can we do? Well, the ultimate solution is prevention. And we need to keep that as our highest priority. We can reduce, reuse, and recycle to keep trash out of the ocean in the first place. And we can participate in things like shoreline cleanups. It's a lot easier to deal with debris before it gets to the ocean. Because until we stop marine debris at the source, we'll just be cleaning it up forever.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge, talking with the ice forecaster. He noted some ice growth along the Arctic coast, as we noted yesterday, and some growth along the northwest coast as well. And that's been a little unusual this early in the season. It's been a long time since they seen some ice growth this early in the season. Also some ice growth along the ice pack as well. So looking at the Saturday's marine forecast for southeast, inside waters, winds generally from the southerly direction 15 to 25 with seas as high as 6 feet there in the southern end. And for the outside waters, winds generally from the southwesterly direction up to 25 with seas as high as 15 feet. So possible small craft advisories out there. For Sunday's marine forecast for southeast, inside waters, winds variable in direction, seas as high as 2 feet. For the outside waters, winds generally from a westerly direction 15 to 25 with seas as high as 13 feet. So look for small crafts there again on Sunday. So to Saturday's marine forecast for south central Prince William Sound, winds generally from the northeast at 15, seas as high as 2 feet. For the Gulf region, winds generally from a westerly direction 25 to 35 with seas as high as 14. So look for small or gale force winds in there. And then for the Cook Inlet region, winds variable direction, but generally from the west at 10 to 30 with seas as high as 6 feet. And for Sunday's marine forecast for south central Prince William Sound, winds generally from the north at 10, seas as high as 2 feet. Gulf region, winds from the west at 25 to 35 with seas as high as 11 feet. So look for small craft advisories in there on Sunday. And for Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a westerly direction 10 to 30 with seas as high as 11 feet there in the southern end near the Barren Islands. For Saturday's marine forecast for Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, around Kodiak Island, winds generally from the west at 40 with seas as high as 23 feet. So look for gale force winds in there on Saturday. South side Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the west at 40 with gusts of 55 again and seas as high as 20 feet. So look for gale force winds in there. And then for the north side Alaska Peninsula, winds from the west at 40 to 45 with gusts of 60 there with seas as high as 24 feet. So again, look for gale force winds in there on Saturday. For Sunday, things seem to calm down a little bit. For Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island. Around Kodiak Island, winds from the southwest at 25 to 30 with seas as high as 11 feet. For the south side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds from the southwest at 25 with seas as high as 9 feet. And for the north side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds from a variable direction, 25 to 35 with seas as high as 17 feet. For Aleutian Chain on Saturday, winds generally from the south at 30 to 40 with seas as high as 18 feet. So look for gale force winds there on Saturday. And for Sunday, things calm down a little bit. Winds generally from the west at 20 to 35 with seas as high as 17 feet. For Saturday's marine forecast, down through the southwest, looking at winds generally from the north or west, looking at anywhere from 20 to 35 with seas as high as 19 feet there. So look for gales there on Saturday. For West Coast on Sunday, winds generally from a variable direction, 10 to 40 down there near the Pribs, with sea as high as 16 feet. So again, gales there on Sunday. For Saturday's marine forecast, Arctic coast along the Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from the north at 10 to 15 with seas as high as 3 feet. Down through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a northeast at 20 to 25 with seas as high as 7 feet. And down through the Bering Strait, winds from the north at 25 with seas as high as 9 feet. And for Sunday's marine forecast, winds generally from the west along the Arctic coast there up to 10 with seas as high as 2 feet. Down through the northwest coast, winds generally from the north at 15, seas as high as 4 feet. And down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from the northeast at 15 with seas as high as 5 feet. For the surface map, looking at low temperature centers around mainland Alaska, spreading mixed precipitation across much of the region, and the low moving into Aleutians.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.